Hi, and welcome to Fiercely Focused. My name is Brittany Below, and each month I will provide you with a free training on all things related to career development and personal growth. I am very passionate about these topics because I find that in careers and getting changes in careers and even starting out or doing something different, we come across issues with managing situations that we might be in with people or managing ourselves, developing skills that are going to help us to take our careers to the next level. And this training series is all about growing you and dedicating time to spend on working on skills that you can develop naturally throughout your day and interactions with other people and things that you can do personally to help yourself grow. So today, I would love to start discussing this topic of boldly being you. I also have a blog that is all things career development, and it has a little bit of a spin on it. It's very women focused. Many men can benefit from this information as well. So I don't want to discourage men from reading it, but it does come from me. And as a woman, I put my own spin on things. It's a fun blog. There's lots of opportunities for just getting more real information. Lots of research goes into the blog. I also provide my own perspective and stories of situations I've been through. So I really hope that in reading the blog, you, first of all, subscribe. The blog is at my website, and you can find it on Facebook, connecting with me on Instagram, all the social outlets, and joining my email list. I'd love to have you subscribe to the blog just for regular updates. And so if you'd like to do that, please go to my website. It's www.thebrittanni.com. And let's just go ahead and jump in. So each month I provide a free training during the Fiercely Focused series. And this training is held every month, same time, same place. I do record these calls. I do want this training to be available if you're not able to attend live, but you want the information. So never fear if you're not able to join live, it will be recorded. So tonight, it's all about boldly being you. How comfortable are you being 100% your authentic self? If you meet a new person at a networking event, or you start a new job, or you're even at work and you're working with a team, you're going into meetings, how comfortable are you being your true self, sharing your own opinions, and really bringing what you have to the table and sharing it with others? This is something that I struggled with early in my career because I was not good at and being confident in myself. I wasn't very good at really confidently knowing what it was that I wanted to say in a meeting, what I could contribute. I sometimes stumbled on my words. My thoughts would constantly think about negative things like maybe I'm not speaking properly, maybe I'm not really being effective. I don't sound as good as this person who just spoke before me. And so we all go through moments of doubt. But the important thing is to know we would not be in a situation or in a position that we are not capable of being successful in. Now, I don't want to confuse being in a position and being successful with doing the work. We all know there is somebody out there who's in a position that they probably don't deserve. They're in a position that they received because they had a good skill and they weren't necessarily ready for a leadership role, but because that was the next thing for them, there they go. And that does not mean that they are a good manager. It doesn't mean that they're the best person for the job. However, there are ways that you can develop skills. So for that person who's in that position who probably didn't deserve it, it's not too late, but there's a lot of self-awareness that would be involved in learning and knowing that growth is probably required, especially if you're in a leadership position. So I want to bring this back to us. I can remember, personally being miserable in my job a few years ago because I was really looking for something new. I wanted to work for a boss who appreciated my work. I worked for someone that I felt didn't appreciate me at all. I would bring ideas to the table, get shot down. I didn't feel respected, and I didn't feel valued. I felt like I was constantly trying to prove myself, and even though all the things that I did to prove myself, it just didn't seem to be good enough. And that took a toll on my self-confidence. It instilled in me a lot of doubt, a lot of fear, and it led into me doing things that just weren't good for myself. I was drinking a lot. I was going out a lot with friends. I wasn't sleeping enough. I wasn't working out. I wasn't taking care of myself. I was in a miserable place blaming other people for my misery. And there was something missing, and it was within me. I had to take a step back and think, why am I allowing this person to have such an impact on me and influence me in this way? And there were so many things that I wanted to change, but I just didn't know how. And after really realizing that I needed to take a look within and become happier, let's face it, I had a job, I was getting paid, I was able to put food on my table, I was able to fill up gas in my car. I had it pretty good. I just focused so much on this person who made me miserable that I discounted all the good. And it's easy for us to do that. As humans, it's easy for us to focus on the negative. But if we rein it back in and we look at all that we have good and all that we have to offer, sometimes it's easy to lose sight of all those good things when we're in this whirlwind of negative and when we're focusing on what's just not going well. So I want to rein it in and share with you 5 ways that you can boldly be you. Now, if you can relate to anything that I just shared, I think that you're going to appreciate this. We all go through nonsense in life. There's always stress. There's always something that there's to complain about. But like I said, we can choose to focus on the good. And many times we just aren't doing that. And we all deserve to be happy. We all deserve to be ourselves and feel confident in who we are and be happy with the person that we are and the ideas that we have and the skills that we have. Now, why would we keep waiting to share that if we know we are capable of so much more? In my case, I wanted to feel important and I wanted to feel appreciated and valued. So I did anything that I could to just prove myself. And I had this burning need to constantly validate. And it was just draining me emotionally, physically. It was awful. And it's funny because there was a point in my life just a couple years ago when I was teaching fitness classes and providing health coaching to people outside of my day job. And I was this walking contradiction because all the time I was telling people how important it is for you to sleep and eat right and work out and take care of yourself and preserve your peace. And I wasn't doing that. I was in the moment focusing on doing that with those who were in the room taking a class. But after that, I was back to my chaotic life and focusing on all this negative. So it's really important to just, consider in the moment, how are we protecting our peace? How are we being ourselves? And how are we showing up for other people? I want to share with you now 5 ways that you can boldly be you, whether it's at a corporate function, whether it's just at work, in a meeting, being more comfortable sharing and opening up, or when you meet new people, not feeling like you're comparing yourself to others, and that you can truly bring out who you are. And when you meet someone, that first impression is everything. And you can always tell when somebody is uncomfortable or nervous and they stutter or they're stumbling on their words or they're talking too fast, because chances are they're probably not being completely authentic. They're trying to impress you by putting on a show, or maybe telling you some things that aren't completely true, talking themselves up. And I've been guilty of that in the past. I've gone to events where I'm meeting new people and I'm comparing myself to these people, just appearance wise, even. They look so polished and well put together. Then they open their mouth and they start speaking to me and they sound like they've been rehearsed to come to an event. And it's like, I wanted to sound like them. I wanted to look like them. She looks great. She dresses well. She has this presence about her. Everyone wants to talk to her. I want to be that person. So then I would get down on myself. I'm not good enough. I don't have as much experience as she does. I don't look the way she does. And those were things that were hindering me from really being who I am and owning myself and boldly being me. And I've learned to appreciate that now, which I want to share these tips with you because it's important. The first tip is own your personality. Own who you are. What are some of the things that people love about you? What are the things you love about yourself? If you have a group of friends, ask. If you have friends that you trust and love and respect, even colleagues, it would be really good for you to just say, hey, if you were to describe me to someone who didn't know me, what would you say? And that is such a cool question to ask, because you then, not to stroke your ego or anything, but you get a chance to see and hear like what others perceive you as. And if you have a chance to get someone to explain to you what their perception of you is, be also prepared for maybe not so many positive things. If you're going to ask that kind of question, how would you describe me to someone else? You're getting feedback on your perception, whether good or bad. Take it and appreciate it and then move on. In business, we perceive ourselves one way. In our personal lives, we perceive ourselves in one way. But that's not always how other people perceive us. And so it's important to understand, how are people perceiving us? And what better way to find out than just asking a close friend or a colleague? Don't be afraid to speak your mind and share your opinion on things. I know feedback I had received in the past is that I can be a bit rough or maybe just too direct. And while I honestly don't think being direct is a problem, there is such thing as too direct. There are too many of everything. There's someone that's too loud or too playful or too condescending. And if people perceive that, just remember, perception is reality. It's very important to remember what their perception is versus what yours is, and find a way to align them. And getting that feedback is so valuable. For the longest time, I hid behind my computer at work because I was scared to talk to people about things bothering me. So I was that person typing out an email with all these frustrations, and I never hit the send button. And I can recall once I had a colleague I sent the email to, and I was like, hey, can you read this? I want to send this to my boss. I'm having these issues. And I laid it all out. This email was like 2 or 3 pages long. First of all, I'm so glad I never sent that email, because that was a conversation that I probably should have had, but I was just too afraid to have the discussion. I wasn't comfortable being in a meeting room with this person. I wasn't comfortable having a one-on-one conversation without agreeing to everything they said. I was afraid to really share things that I disagreed with. And it is so important to share whatever your thoughts are. You can do that in a respectful way, but you don't necessarily have to agree with everything someone else more superior than you says. If somebody that's more superior than you has an opinion on something that you might disagree with, there is a respectful way to disagree, provide what concerns you might have with their opinion or their thought process, and then share yours. And you can come to a common ground. But to sit back and never say anything, that's just doing yourself a disservice, because then what do? The next thing is you go off to your girlfriends and you're gossiping about how miserable you are and how stupid somebody might be, or how disrespectful someone may be, and how much you don't agree with. But while all of that's going on, you could have just had that conversation. And it's not fun. They're never easy, but you will feel so much better if you own who you are and own your opinions and your perspectives and share that with people who need to hear it. I love gossiping with my girlfriends. I love getting together and having wine and sharing laughs and just looking at all the craziness in our lives and laughing about it, because that is just one of the ways we get through it. But that's not the only thing that we should be doing. You know, when you're having your time and you're talking with friends and you're discussing things, you're being your authentic self. There is a way to translate that into the professional world, being more authentic and really being comfortable sharing who you are and what you think. The next tip that I have for you is stop apologizing. So tip number 2, stop apologizing. Career development is not really possible if you're constantly saying, I'm sorry, and apologizing for being who you are or thinking what you think. Being true to yourself means that you are not going to apologize for feeling and thinking the way you do. No one should ever apologize for how they feel. We own our feelings, we own our thoughts, and we shouldn't apologize for them. I used to be so bad about saying sorry for pretty much everything. In meetings, I would say things like, sorry, I don't agree with that. Or, sorry, can you elaborate? Why is it that I would add sorry in front of those questions or sentences? I could simply have just said, I don't agree with that, and here's why. Or, I didn't catch that. Can you elaborate? Saying the word sorry, especially as a woman, does show signs of weakness. And in the corporate world, we work with men, we're in meetings. It's very important for you as a woman not to say, I'm sorry. And even men, that's guidance that I've received. Men in the room don't ever apologize for anything. So why should I? Unless you've blatantly disrespected someone or humiliated someone, you have no reason to apologize, especially for your own thoughts. And you should feel empowered to speak up. Sharing your opinions is so important, and it's also going to help you with your confidence to just show up in any situation and feel like you can bring something to the table and to a discussion that you're in, rather than sitting back and listening. It's important to sit back and listen many times, especially if you're in a new group. It's always important. I love to go into new settings and kind of scope out who I'm around and what other people are saying, not just start throwing my opinions out without knowing the situation entirely. So there's things to be mindful of, but you certainly shouldn't apologize ever for what you think. Tip number 3, have more fun. And you might think, how do I do that? That's insane. Have more fun at work. Have more fun in your personal life. At work, we are constantly tasked with getting things done and deadlines and all of the reasons that we're there. We have a job to do, but it shouldn't consume us, and it shouldn't consume our personal life. We shouldn't go into work miserable every day, and we need to find ways to make it fun, which include outside of work, doing things to take better care of ourselves, surrounding ourselves with things that bring us joy so that we can show up at work and not be miserable. There's plenty of miserable people in the workplace. I don't want to be one of them. And I don't want other people to think that I'm miserable. I want to be able to spread joy and happiness. And yeah, situations sometimes get stressful. There's days at work that I'm constantly rolling my eyes because there's just so much nonsense going on. But at the same time, I have to rein it in and say, you know what? I'm not going to let this affect me. It's just work. It will get done. I need to preserve my happiness and protect my peace. So the question that people ask, I love this. If somebody asks, how are you? Good to see you. How's it going? What is the typical response that you get? Oh, things are so busy, but it's okay. Work's crazy. I hate hearing that. And I am one of the people who used to say that all the time. And I catch myself sometimes. I still say that. We constantly think, if somebody asks how you are, they're asking how you are. They're not asking how your work is going. They're asking, how are you? And work isn't everything. We all have jobs. We all have work. We got to make money. But there's more to life. So make sure you're enjoying it. We're only at work for 8 to 10 hours a day. Some maybe less than that. And what are you doing with the other 14 or 16 hours of your day? Aside from sleeping, I hope that you're spending time doing things that bring you joy and that you're spending your time with people that you like to be around. And for me, I love to help people learn. I love to help grow and mentor others. So sometimes my evenings consist of me doing webinars and meeting with people online and working with groups, because that's what brings me joy. And I love spending my time doing that. Sometimes I'll have a glass of wine. I enjoy wine. I love to have a glass of wine while I'm winding down in the evenings and watching TV or reading. Having a cup of tea before bed has become one of my favorite routines because it helps me to relax and it also helps me to sleep better. So those things bring me joy, and I have fun doing it. So whatever that looks like for you, just make sure that you are not letting your day job or your work completely consume your life, because you cannot show up for other people at work or really anywhere and be valuable and provide people with the happy you that you are if you are consuming yourself so much with work that you're not enjoying the rest of your life and you're not getting enough sleep and you're not interacting enough with people. Take time to do things that you enjoy. Tip number 4. This one, I do get a little bit of an odd look, but my tip for you is be selfish. You might disagree with me here, but it's important to think about things from a different perspective when I talk about this. So I mentioned be selfish. And I just talked about, how many hours do we have in a day? How many hours of that day are you spending it doing things for other people? Think about that. When you're at work, you're usually getting work done for other people. You're not working on your own personal business. And even if you are working on your own personal business, you're doing that to serve your customers or your clients. You're not doing that necessarily to bring you happiness. You're doing it to serve people, to bring money into your bank account, to pay your bills and live your life. But are you truly taking time to do something for yourself and enjoy your own life? It kind of goes back into have more fun. But this one, being selfish in this tip specifically, this is about you. So not even about spending more time with friends or family. This is your own personal time. So it could be, 10 minutes to read a book or catch up on an article that you've been wanting to read, or 20 minutes to go take a hot bubble bath in the evening, because that's the only time that you're going to have to yourself completely with your thoughts and no other distraction. We're always on our cell phones. We are constantly working with technology throughout the day. We have to unplug. So when I say be selfish, I want you to take care of yourself. I want you to think about how you can show up best for others by spending more time doing the things that you need to do to take care of you, working out, taking a yoga class, meditating, reading a book, whatever that looks like for you, knitting, going to a wine tour or what. That's something I would do to be selfish. Do that because it's going to make you happier. You're not going to feel resentful for the time that you're constantly spending on other people. We all need time back to ourselves to fill ourselves up. You have to fill your own cup so that you can pour into others. And I love this quote that I've heard. You can't, if you don't love yourself, you can't have love to give to others. So you must love yourself first so that you can have love to give to someone else. Many people have issues with self-love and self-confidence. And if you don't love who you are and the person that you are, how in the world can you love someone else? So take time to be selfish and take care of yourself. My final tip, tip number 5, is to enjoy everything that comes your way. Everything. Now, I've mentioned before, we might work in environments that are stressful or work with someone that's annoying or in a situation that we aren't very happy with. But there isn't a reason why we can't embrace and enjoy the experience that we have the opportunity to learn from. I was just on a call with a group of women, and we were talking about managers that we've worked with or currently work with that may be micromanagers or condescending or controlling. And although those are stressful situations, there is something we can find in that to actually enjoy. And one of the women that I was speaking with, she mentioned she has a micromanager, and that micromanager, actually, she's learned to appreciate her because it's somebody that can share with her exactly what it is she's looking for, kind of she's giving her direction on, how she can perform better in her job. Even though she's micromanaging, she's not doing it in a condescending way. Even though she's micromanaging, there's still something that she can learn. So she's chosen not to focus on the fact that she's dealing with a micromanager, but she is choosing to focus on the fact that I can learn from this person because she does have so much knowledge, even though she's perceived as a micromanager. I'm going to embrace this because I can learn how not to be, and I can learn what she expects from me. So there are always ways that we can shift our perspective and our thinking in a negative situation and learn a lesson. So why would we not? It's easy to appreciate the benefit of doing things that I hate if I really focus on how it's good for me. So one example that I used is grocery shopping. I hate grocery shopping. And I'm not sure if it's maybe just because I'm always busy and I'm like, I don't have time for this. There's something else I could be doing. There's always something better that we can do with our time when we're supposed to clean our house or do laundry or go grocery shopping. But in those moments, we can learn to enjoy it by, for me, going grocery shopping, I hated it. But now, I've decided I can look at the fact that I'm saving money by buying my own groceries and not going out and picking up takeout or going to a restaurant, and that I am buying ingredients and preparing my own meals so I can control what's going into them, which is going to make me healthier and prepare me for the summer. So I'm going to enjoy that experience because I'm thinking about grocery shopping is fun because it's saving me money. It's going to help me lose weight and prepare my body for the summer because I'm eating right and I'm not buying junk. So there's that kind of perspective that you can have. Doing the laundry, turn on a great playlist, get your chores done. I mean, there are so many things that we can do to enjoy, even though it might not be the best glamorous thing. I really hope that you do take the time to appreciate and grow and learn from every situation that comes your way. And even though it might be difficult at times to work with people, there's always a valuable lesson that we can get out of that. So the example I used of the woman who works for a manager that's micromanaging her, she's learned to appreciate some of those things. So many of us can learn from these situations, and I hope that you take time to do that. So just to recap, the 5 tips to boldly be you. Number 1, own your personality. Number 2, stop apologizing. 3, have more fun. And number 4, be selfish. And finally, enjoy everything that comes your way. Thank you so much for being here with me. I hope that you have found this session valuable. I am here once a month providing a free training on various topics. And please subscribe to my blog for more information. I will provide you updates on upcoming topics. And as we close, we all deserve to live a life full of confidence, happiness, and intention. So I hope that you take from this little nuggets that are going to help you to live a happier, more confident, and intentional life. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you next time on the Fiercely Focused webinar series.